Hello and welcome to the second episode of Fundamental of Creativity in Arts. I am Bhuvi Kingar and our subject expert is Mr. Ashish Garg. In our previous episode, we learnt about the fundamentals of creativity in art and also examined the meanings of logic and style apart from understanding creativity. In this episode, we'll be touching on the following topics: value and tools of art. Value. What is value? Is value best described in dollars and cents, or in beneficial outcomes, or better still, in meaningful relationships? Well, it is none of these things. Here we are not going to talk about value in terms of wealth. Value is something different which is related to arts, or you can say design. Value is relative lightness or darkness of a color and is perceived in terms of contrast. For example, pink is a light value of red, while navy is a dark value of blue. Value is an element of art. Value is very important and we must understand the elements of art. It is also called an element of art that refers to luminance or luminosity. The lightness or darkness of a color is important in any polychromatic image, but it can be more apparent when an image is monochromatic, as in many drawings, woodcuts, lithographs, and photographs. This is commonly the case in sculpture and architecture too. Another value scale or gray scale in which stepped grades of values are labeled for their percentages of black and values used to give planar shapes, greater solidity and depth in the image given. A full range of values can also be produced by a variety of other means. These include hatching and stipple techniques, as well as with textures and patterns of other sorts. The following illustration has diagrams and colors of various values. Value changes from pure hues are called shades and tints. On the right, pure hues are marked by dots. Notice how their values, their positions beside the grayscale are varied. Changes in value, whether sudden or gradual, can add greatly to the visual impact of art forms. Changes in value can also be used to help the artist express an idea. Let us now discuss the history of value and problems with its use. A certain quantity of cold colors is necessary to give value and luster to the warm colors. Sir Joshua Reynolds, 1723 to 1792, was an English painter, lecturer on art, and the first president of the Royal Academy. Sir Joshua Reynolds' published use of value has been read by art world readers ever since the late 18th century. This suggests that the term has been in use within the English-speaking academia at least since that time. Art educators generally credit Arthur Wesley Dow 1857 to 1922 with introducing the teaching of the art elements in the USA through his book Composition, first published in the 1890s. Did he use the term value? Are his followers doing so? English speakers more typically use this term to refer to emotional or monetary worth. Art world speakers' exceptional usage from that of the general English speaker can be problematic. Is there a better word for this than value? Outside of the art world, value is primarily understood to mean worth. Why does the art world persist in speaking of value when the maintenance of this convention chronically demands explanation? Even with explanations, using the word value frequently results in misunderstanding. Is there any way to avoid these undesirable results? Yes. Scientists refer to the same lightness, darkness phenomena and never create the confusion with which we cope. They simply use the terms luminance and luminosity, interchangeable synonyms. Both are typically defined as the condition or quality of emitting or reflecting light. Luminance and luminosity concern what is either self-generated or reflected light. Understanding that art speakers more typically employ value to reference the continuum of lightness or the darkness of reflected light. When we speak of the luminosity of any passage in a drawing, painting or print, we are unbothered about whether the reader might think the surface is lit internally or from its back. We also think that surfaces are generally well lighted. Typically, we are talking about the degree of a color's potential to reflect that light. Whenever we are discussing a work which emits its own light, where we backlighting, projection, incandescence, fluorescence, halogen, neon, laser, light emitting diode, etc., we are likely to observe and point out that fact and consider other aspects of the work with this one in mind. In other words, in contrast to uses of the word value, the potential for the L words causing confusion is comparatively negligible. Indeed, a scientist or photographer measuring the potential of a surface to reflect light would speak of its luminance, unworried that the surface is not itself generating the light. Instead, a scientist would measure the surface luminance in relation to the brightness, measured in lumens or candle power, of the light cast upon it. Every new word requires explanation, but luminance and luminosity have the advantage of coming from the Latin root lumen, light. This old word gave birth to the words luminous. Luminary, as we all know, is someone who has achieved eminence in his or her field. Let us also not forget the words illuminate and illumination. As a rule, art lex is descriptive of the meaning of words and rarely prescriptive of what words should mean. Art lex should point out some of the problems some words can get us into. This note presents an instance of such a tangle. Lightness, which artists traditionally refer to as value or tonal value, is the light or dark of a color independent of its chromaticity. Given all the space devoted to hue in color theory, it is surprising to learn that value is the most important design element of a painting. It is hard to overstate the importance of good value structure to the impact of visual art. Lightness or brightness is only thing that the oldest visual systems were designed to perceive. Even when color vision appeared in mammals, it was basically a matter of long wavelength light compared to short wavelength light. Yellow against blue, which remain in our color vision as the hues that have at their peak saturation the widest difference in lightness. This page develops the perceptual importance and complexity of lightness in our visual response and explores the various ways artists think about, measure and control the value structure in visual works of art. The dominance of value. Value dominates our visual experience. It is the strongest element of visual contrast and largely determines our perception of form as we explore a picture. It defines our perception of space through the luminance differences between the lighted and dark surfaces of three-dimensional objects and long-distance effects of aerial perspective. Even in an abstract or pattern design, lightness dominates hue as the pattern-making element in a picture. no variation in chromaticity, lightness unchanged. The original GIF file was transformed using the Adobe Photoshop grayscale mode. The transformed image has 100 GIF colors, no variation in lightness, chromaticity unchanged. The original GIF file above was transformed by setting GIF colors to exact 256 using Magic Wand to select all pixels of each color, adjusting the L value of the selected color to 60 without changing A or B values. Then using Paint bucket to refill all selected pixels with the adjusted color. The transformed image has 223 GIF colors. Tools of art. Being an artist is not only difficult but also a bit expensive. It is difficult in the sense that you need to have a natural talent for art. And if you don't have this talent, then no school or private coaching classes can teach you art. Schools of arts are meant to polish your natural ability and talent for arts. Moreover, if you have the talent, then you should be prepared to buy a huge lot of art supplies. A good art supply means a better painting. If you cannot afford them, then it does not mean that you should stop painting. There is a wide range of art supplies available in market. All of these supplies come with different price range and quality. You can always choose the best items that you can afford and the ones that best meet your requirements within your budget. There are many art supply items that can help you in producing a better painting, but there are certain basic items that you must have. Here is a list. Brush. There is a variety of brushes available in market and each of them have their own purposes and needs. When you go to buy your supply of brushes, you will realize that the art suppliers offer you brush with natural or synthetic hair. The type of painting in which you are interested will help you in making the decision of which brush to buy. Palette. When choosing a palette, make sure that you buy one that offers a fair amount of space. You can use this space to mix different colors more easily. Also, try to choose a palette that offers you a slope along one side. This slope is very helpful in separating the clean paint colors from the dirty paints. Do not squeeze too much paint on the palette as it will only result in wastage. Sketchbook. There are often times in the life of painter when an idea for a painting just pops up. In this case, it is always helpful to carry a sketchbook. Use this sketchbook to immediately note down your ideas, and if you are carrying a small painting kit with you, then you can use the colors to capture the actual feeling of your idea on the sketchbook. Pastels. You can use pastels to add a unique touch to your painting, but make sure that you use them before the watercolors, otherwise the result will not be what you desired. Watercolor paper. Watercolor papers are an integral part of painting. There are hundreds of watercolor papers available in market. You can use them for quick demonstrations, sketches, and even wash them to give a wet look to your painting. Paint. There is a wide variety of paint colors available in market, which you can buy according to your needs. water spray. These are the cheapest of all the art supplies. They are helpful for a quick light spray over the wet ink. Often, students want to know what art tools they can use to exploit their art. It is easy to understand how anybody new to the field might have trouble finding the right tools. These days, there is a lot of art software. The range is wide from tiny tools that will only render you a logo to large, multi-purpose, expensive and complex programs that can do almost anything. They all look great on the outset and have plenty of cool features. But which tool is right for you? How much and what functionality do you need? How much are you willing to pay for it? This article will help you find answers to such questions and hopefully save a lot of time and hassle. Generally, there are two types of art tools, 2D and 3D. 2D, two dimensions x and y. 2D tools let you paint or draw on a flat surface, just like painting or drawing on a piece of paper or canvas. 3D, three dimensions x, y and z. 3D tools are different. Here you create in 3 dimensions. The best way to understand how 3D works is to simply try it yourself. Download a demo of any 3D tool along with a basic tutorial and experiment. For a beginner, it's best to start with a good but inexpensive and popular tool. That way, the process of learning how to use the tool will be easier and less costly because such tools have a large user base. Thus, there are many tutorials and forums to turn for help. And such tools are typically less complex than the more expensive ones. Try out the art software. The main difference between them is how they work and how much they cost. You can do minor fixes to your 3D renders. Starting with GIMP might be a good idea since it's free and is available for Linux, Mac OS and Windows. Photoshop and Painter are probably the most popular 2D tools among digital artists. GIMP, many effects and filters. Working in high resolution can be slow. Painter, targeted at digital painters, famous for its rich set of natural brushes, can be slow when working in high resolution. Photoshop, the most popular photo editing software on the planet. Many free and commercial plugins available. Photoshop is the world's most popular tool and almost every design organization uses Photoshop for their designs. All-round 3D tools. You should get one if you are serious about learning 3D art. By using an all-round 3D tool, you will learn how to create and think in 3D. Such tools will let you do almost anything: characters, architecture, landscapes, objects, special effects, etc. 3D is Max, most usable in the world and very user-friendly tool. Very effective for game production, 3D animated movies and architectural walkthroughs. Maya, a very strong tool for movie production. Blender, available for many operating systems. Free, documentation can be lacking in some areas, somewhat unusual interface. Carrera 7, pretty easy to use, good landscape creation capabilities, multi-processor support. Lightwave 3D, a rather unusual interface, no icons, only text buttons, famous for its high rendering quality, used in production of many Hollywood movies. These are versatile tools that take time to learn. Master any of them and you probably won't need to learn another one for years to come. Special purpose 3D tools. There are many 3D tools which specialize in particular domain like character or landscape creation. Because they are highly optimized for doing one thing, the end result can be better or at least easier and quicker done compared to an all-round tool. They are typically much easier to use and get started with, frequently providing the user with prefabricated, ready-to-use assets that can be easily manipulated. This allows for a very rapid development process and saves plenty of time and effort. There is a downside to this, however. The high specialization factor makes these tools output renderings that have very similar look and feel. The wide use of prefabricated assets further eliminates originality and typically degrades artistic creativity. The ease of use makes such tools accessible to anybody, artist or not. As a result, many online galleries are literally flooded with endless, similarly looking, poor quality images that get quickly boring to look at. Having said that, there certainly is a special place for such tools in 3D artists' toolbox. If used wisely, they can act as a valuable supplement to your all-round 3D tools. "3D Landscape Tools", Bryce 6.1. Sleek interface but not very practical. Renders quite fast, very easy to use. Mojo World, fractal based, generates whole worlds as opposed to single landscape, rendering not that fast. Terragen, very realistic rendering, a free version available with limited functionality for non-commercial use, very slow rendering. View Infinite, quite realistic rendering, advanced lighting and atmosphere features, very capable at generating landscapes with plants. 3D character tools, DAZ Studio, easy to use, limited, rather slow interface. Poser, easy to use, sleek interface but not very practical. How to start? The tools described here are specially suitable for serious beginners. You should start with either an all-round 3D or 2D tool. Once you are comfortable with one or both of these, a special purpose tool may be a good option for supplementing your work. Be prepared to spend long hours with the tools you choose to learn, either it is canvas brush and colors or 2D and 3D digital software tools. The art field demands 3Ds, dedication, devotion and determination. Start small and gradually and steadily improve your skills. Concentrate on fundamentals. Learn the basics first. Focus on building a solid understanding of how the tool works. Buy an introductory book or simply use the manuals. If well written, it may be all you'll need. If you get stuck, look for help on net, forums, FAQs, Usenet, and tutorials. Learn one tool well, and learning other tools will be much quicker and easier, as they all work in a similar fashion. Take your time and don't hurry. The more you hurry, the less you learn. There are, of course, many other tools out there. Once you become more experienced, you'll know your needs better and will find your way to other tools if needed. While trying out these tools, keep in mind that although fundamentally they work in a similar way, the usage is different. A tool that works great for one person may not work at all for another. Every tool out there has been created by people who have preferences or biases regarding how a tool should work, look like, behave, etc. So the best strategy is to download a demo and try it for some time. If it doesn't suit you, try another one until you find one that you like. Finally, remember that all software are merely tools. It's the user of those tools that makes all the difference. A novice, even when given the most powerful software in the world, will still produce poor results. On the other hand, a talented, experienced and dedicated artist will produce great results using low-end tools. The more skilled you become, the more you can use this to your advantage. Recap. In this episode, we learned about the fundamentals of creativity in art, value and tools for art. The value term is essential for design and art, because without this, we wouldn't be able to give the impressive design, and same tools has been in the demand and unavoidable part of the design industry. Though still, some artists or studios used to work traditionally, but still at some point they need to touch the tool for giving the final touch to their artworks. In next episode, we'll be learning about the illustration and graphs, which are also the part of the same episode. That is all we have for today. Goodbye and take care.